Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. Oh, yeah. How's everybody doing? Don't expect a barn burner today. I don't have a speech prepared or anything like that. I don't have a topic. This is literally just me chatting with the chat. I do streams like this on TJ Does Life every so often. I don't really usually do them here because I usually want to have like an actual topic and, you know, the ability to bring up something that I think at least is entertaining. But these tend to just be low-key, low-energy, sort of chat with the chat kind of bullshit. But hey, you know, when I'll be honest with you, I went to my brother's birthday dinner, which was a few days after his birthday. He was going to come the week before, but he there was some COVID. He didn't have COVID, but some people around him did, and, you know, we wanted to be precautious. And, you know, so anyway, he came this week, and we had his birthday dinner tonight. And, you know, I ate a lot. I have a daily calorie limit that's pretty high, but I still managed to surpass my daily calorie allowance by 1 calorie. 1 calorie over right now. So, you know, a little bit more calories than I wanted, but still, hey, whatever. Now I just have to make sure I don't eat anything for the rest of the time I'm awake, and I'm good. I haven't watched in a minute. You look really great. Thank you. Appreciate that. You know, you can't really see much of me. I'm hidden under this beard and this hat and stuff, you know, so. Hey. You know, whatever. Like a revolutionary trucker. Yeah, that's something. That's a thing, I guess. Why not? Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Amen. Recently found out I don't have cancer, and I'm low-key bummed about it. Like, you were looking forward to, like, I was kind of like looking forward to the slow, agonizing death, and now I just have to keep working and I can kind of see that, actually. Yeah, okay. You've talked me into it. Sorry to hear that, Boomer. Hope you beat it. What the fuck are you talking about? He said he recently found out he doesn't have cancer. So he already beat it. He's mad about beating it. TJ, what do you think about the more strict gun laws for ARs and handguns, but more relaxed laws for hunting firearms as a compromise? I don't feel like there needs to be like super strict law. I mean, like, I just feel like there's some pretty reasonable things that could be done as far as gun control that doesn't take away anybody's rights or anything. And I don't really think it's feasible to remove guns from the hands of the American people. I don't even think it's necessarily desirable. But I do think that, you know, like driving a car, you know, there are certain criteria you have to meet before you can drive the car. Maybe there should be certain criteria you have to meet before you can shoot the gun. Just wondering, how often do you watch Vosh's live stream and videos? I feel like you and him are very similar in a lot of ways. Well, the fact that we have certain similarities kind of makes it where I don't really need to watch him that often. I usually am sort of on the same page. I feel like I'm somewhere maybe in between where a Kyle Kalinske figure would be and a Vosh figure would be. Maybe even like a split the difference between the two. But I'm better than all of them because I'm me. And yeah, I believe that. TJ, have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once? I'm waiting for the price to come down. They still want $5.99 for the rental, and I don't believe in pirating movies at my income level. If I had less money, I would. But you know, I feel like I don't want to fucking contribute to the financial failure of a thing that has entertained me, especially when I am in a business where I rely on the very kind donations of people who I am attempting to entertain. Show us your feet, TJ. Sure. Here you go. There's a foot. There's a foot for you. It's got a shoe on it. You never told me I have to take the shoe off. Is this a premiere or live? This is. Why would I bother premiering something like this? It's literally called talking to the chat. How would I even accomplish that in a fucking premiere? Do I just psychically know what everyone's gonna say? Do I have that power? Do I have that ability? If I did, I think I'd use it to better effect than this. Can someone explain to me why so few people are destroying the planet for eternity when they only live about 90 years? How selfish a species we are, huh? I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. They only live 90 years, so what does it matter to them? You know, if they can enrich their own lives and all it costs is the future, well, what do they care? They're not going to be there for that future anyway. They're dead, so they don't care that they've left the Earth a smoldering ball of shit. Hey, my darling atheist, have you and the boys thought about doing a deep fat fried episode on G.G. Allen? I feel like that could be a fun episode. We have talked about that episode idea before. The main thing that holds us back from doing a G.G. Allen episode is we feel like doing it on YouTube, you necessarily have to censor certain aspects of Gigi's personality and activities to the point where we don't know if it would necessarily be as much fun to do. It's almost like you have to do a pussified version of the G.G. Allen story, right? Why do people who believe in climate change disproportionately live on the coasts? Maybe that's the people who see it the most. I don't know. Well, people who live in the coastal areas tend to live in larger cities because humans congregate there, and people who live in cities tend to be, I don't know, a little smarter than rural people because they're more stimulated. And they're, people who are stuck in like sort of shitty rural towns tend to be dummies who never figured out that they should leave. So I feel like there's a selection process where kind of people who are a little bit smarter tend to migrate to cities. People who are a little bit more worldly, people who are a little bit more well-read. I'm not saying everyone in the city is smart and everyone in the country is stupid. I'm just saying, as a general principle. Obviously there's people who live in the rural states who are, or even rural areas that are very intelligent. Not trying to, be like, oh, and everyone in the city is a fucking genius Einstein clone or something. But, we're speaking generally here. The Rio Grande is run dry in my town. I live just south of Albuquerque. Yeah, well, get used to it because the water's going bye-bye. I saw some satellite images of the big reservoir whose name escapes me at the moment. Oh, yeah, that thing looks dried out as fuck too. I show all of my first dates 2011 TJ video and they either love it or they're appalled. Either way, you should get laid. Just show it to them and then based on their reaction, be like, yeah, I hate that guy, and then fuck them. Or, yeah, I love that guy, and then fuck them. Either way, it works out. I'm the smartest person in this chat. I mean, you may well be. Who knows? Please respond to Godless God. Where are they? Sorry, the chat's moving too fast for me to read everybody. I don't actually see them in there. TJ is the new CEO of WWE. Yeah, I saw that Vince is out. Hopefully, this is going to be a good thing for that company because I think Vince McMahon was the main thing holding it back at this point. Thank you, Logic. I see him now, but I didn't see what he had to say, so oops. Genghis Khan was pretty smart. He didn't need a fancy city or... Well, Genghis Khan was... he's a rare breed of person, We don't get too many Genghis Khans. Actually, I think it's pronounced Genghis. When are you going to be going on Timcast? They were just talking about getting an atheist on there today. I'm supposed to go on once I figure out my housing situation. Right now, I am trying to move. It's been a bitch trying to get out of here. I've been looking at houses and stuff, trying to figure out my exit strategy. And it's been way more difficult than I thought it would be. I guess the housing market has changed a lot since the last time I was in it. So I'm trying to navigate that weird zone. Do you like based DILF Johnny Depp beating evil abuser Amber in court? Yeah, I mean, I'm on his side to whatever extent I take a side in that shit. I kind of wish that, I kind of wish that I just didn't even know about any of that shit, to be honest with you. But whatever. It's fine. Do you think having personal spirituality can ever be logical? I don't think that every aspect of a person needs to be logical. I think that the parts that you make decisions with should be logical. I don't believe, I hear sometimes people say, like, trust your intuition, trust your intuition. I'm going to tell you the exact opposite. Don't trust your intuition. Trust logic, trust reason. Now, maybe sometimes your intuition is screaming at you and you feel like you have to follow it. And, you know, I feel like maybe those times there's something going on a little bit deeper down inside that you need to reckon with. But, you know, then definitely, like, interrogate your intuition if you have the time. Now, sometimes you're going to have to make split-second decisions, and that's when maybe intuition is useful because you don't have time to logically deconstruct all the options. But if you've got time to weigh out a decision, make it logically. But that doesn't mean every aspect of your personality has to be constrained to logic. You're allowed to have irrational parts of your being. Just don't allow them to be the basis of your decision-making, and you should be all right. You know, now there's times when I let myself be a little irrational, like if I'm going to go gambling or something like that, which, you know, I'm not an avid gambler, but I do enjoy hitting up a casino every now and then. I allow myself to be a little bit superstitious, you know, about certain numbers and things like that. I know it's not anything tethered to, like, verifiable, demonstrable reality, but I like to play around and, you know, allow myself to have a little bit of fun with that sort of irrational thinking. Is non-existence and existence a duality? I don't know. It depends on how you define duality. Should everyone have a gun? No, not everyone should have a gun, but anyone who wants one should be able to have one, so long as they're, you know, to demonstrate a reasonable degree of competency and understanding of what they have. Don't get it twisted. I'm going to get everything twisted. Fuck you. Looks like your diet is working. Looks more healthy. I'm not really, I don't really consider myself to be on a diet. I'm trying to eat better. I'm trying to restrict my calories, but this is, like, to me, a lifelong thing. Hopefully I'll get better at it as I go along. I'm trying to improve the way I eat over time. Now, this doesn't mean that I've eschewed fast. I had fast food. I mean, I ate 2 meals out today. 2 meals out was able to get me over my calorie limit. But on a normal day, I wouldn't do that, you know. On a normal day, I'm usually I try to be like 20% under. I kind of aim for that, at least at this point. I'm trying to lose weight. I don't really consider trying to lose weight either. I mean, I kind of just look at it as like trying to burn fat. Because I'm also trying to build muscle at the same time. So, you know, obviously if you're building muscle, that's going to add weight. So I don't really rely too much on what the scale says. I rely more on just like trying to see like what my level of fat is, what my level of muscle is. And I've noticed that, you know, I've been getting some muscle development. It's been slow going. It has not been a fucking fast process. But it's not been, you know, I've definitely noticed some improvements in strength, stamina, that sort of thing, you know, from week to week. I think Manson should do a born-again Christian grift to save his career and release a new album when the heat cools down. I think that Manson should just win his court case and then proceed from there. That's probably the top priority at this point. With what's going on nowadays, do you think there should be another rise in atheism like in the 2000s, early 2010s? Congratulations on the fat loss. Yeah, I have not lost nearly as much fat as I've wanted to. I'm still pretty fat. But I have lost some fat and I've gained some muscle. So thank you for your congratulations. And as far as that goes, I mean, I believe atheism is still on the rise. It's not as trendy a topic. And, you know, I think that what needs to go away is this idea that people who make atheism part of their identity are, like, cringy. You know, this whole concept of, like, cringe has really fucked us up as a society. It used to be edge they would throw at you. You know, anybody who fucking expresses a passionate opinion gets these accusations of cringe and edge and this and that. And these, like, very dismissive terms are tossed around. And, you know, it's basically just because, you know, what's cool is to be, like, apathetic and not give a shit. That's always been the cool thing, is like, I don't give a fuck, whatever, you know, I glide with the stride, man, or whatever the fuck. And it's just, it's not really conducive to actually improving one's own condition or the condition of the world. And so, yeah, you should probably take a vested interest in the way things go. and not give a shit if you're cringe or edgy or whatever fucking term is being tossed around to disincentivize your passions. Thanks, Savannah. People are born ACS and they are perverted by their families. If they okay, whatever. TJ, what are your meals mainly consist of? I try to do I try to do meals that are vegetable and basic protein centric when possible. I've done some meal prep stuff. Made these been doing some stuff on the TM PM channel. I forget what the actual name of the channel is, but you can find it under TM PM if you look for it. I've done some stuff on there. All that's turned out pretty good. The last time we cooked the turkey one, it didn't turn out well, but the first time we did it, it turned out pretty good. But I don't know. That's neither here nor there. But I've done some meal prep kind of stuff. I've done a lot of basic chicken breast kind of stuff, but I'll also do hamburgers and things as well. And I'm not super strict on a diet because I know that would just be conducive to failure. So I'll still eat a cheeseburger and stuff here and there. Got any crazy or funny personal police stories? Actually, every encounter that I've ever had with the police, except for a few that have happened recently, which have not really been much, is all on a video I did a while back called Cop Stories or Stories of the Police or something like that. What do you think is valuable about spirituality? I don't know. It's probably just maybe there's some certain emotional states associated with it that might be kind of, I don't want to say freeing, but kind of just a certain type of euphoria might be associated with it. Why do you think you've lost subs? I think I've lost subs because I used to have conservative cross appeal, and I pretty much decided I don't want it. So now I just pretty much shit on them nonstop, and I think that a lot of people who used to be able to stomach me no longer can, because I pretty frequently attack them and deride them and look down on them and condescend to them and call them idiots. Now, I always, I did those kind of attacks, but I also had videos that were sort of olive branchy towards those people, and now I don't really think that there's too much of that olive branch. I think I've burned that olive branch down. I've kind of come to the conclusion that I don't really want those people. So, yeah, I think that's probably why. In fact, I'm about 90% sure. I think there's also a little YouTube fuckery in the mix as well, but, who knows? That's impossible to prove, or at least very difficult. I hope you understand that what you just said was inspiring. I don't know what you're referring to, but I'm glad it inspired you. TJ, remember our fight over McDonald's and Wendy's? No, I do not. Why do you think most atheist agnostics tend to lean left? I think most of the time when people are atheist or agnostic, they view not pleasing God as the highest good, but advancing human beings as the highest good. And I think that when you view advancing human beings as the highest good, you're going to favor policies that are human centric and humane and compassionate and empathetic. And there's not much of that on the right wing. In fact, there's none. If you had to pick between H. Clinton, Trump, Obama, or Biden to be president, which side of the same coin would you pick and why? Also a conservative here, but a reasonable middle ground conservative. Okay, well, if I had to pick between Clinton, Trump, Obama, and Biden to be president, I guess I'd probably pick... I guess I'd go with Obama. I don't know. It's a really terrible choice. I don't really want either. I guess maybe I'd go with Hillary, because she's the only one I've never seen her be president. So I guess we could see what that's like. Probably not very, very different. Full woke. What? Someone said that? Translation. TJ used to make fun of ridiculous positions on both the left and the right, but now he went full woke. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's the guy. I gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I'll still make fun of left-wingers when they're really stupid, but they're just not really stupid as often as the right is. The right wing in this country has gotten so over-the-top absurd that it's impossible for me to give a shit about SJW's language policing and shit anymore, because it's just such small potatoes compared to the horrible shit going on in the right wing. Like they're actually dismantling like the institutions of our civil liberties. So it's like it's kind of hard to give a shit about someone whining about like, oh, there's too many butts in this video game. It's like, all right, I'll worry about you when the times are good, you know? That's when I'll make another Anita Sarkeesian ownage video or whatever the fuck. Would you rather have a libertarian atheist or a socialist Christian as president? Probably a socialist Christian. I think that I mean, you know, it depends on how important their faith is. If they were actually making decisions based on God and Jesus, I guess then that would be a different matter. But if it's like that's just their personal beliefs, you know, I can probably accept that. If they're a socialist, they're probably more leaning towards the nicer things that Jesus said, you know, kind of like Sermon on the Mount shit about, you know, turning the other cheek and, you know, the meek shall inherit the earth and all that stuff. If you could give your younger self from 15 years ago one piece of personal/career advice except investments, what would it be? So no investment advice, I guess. Okay, let me think. I don't know. I guess I'd probably just say never try to appeal to a right-wing audience. I don't know. Just like don't ever pander. That'd be my basic piece of advice. Never compromise on who you are just to get a little bit bigger of a fucking market share of this audience or that audience. Don't allow yourself to be blinded by you know, audience sizes or the amount of money that rolls in or something like that, because it's not worth it. You're going to get to a point where you're going to like look in the mirror and be disgusted with you know, not so much who you are, but like what you've kind of allowed to crop up around you. And that's when you're going to have to like reevaluate, and you're going to be stuck in a zone of like uncertainty and like analysis paralysis for years on end while you try to like reconcile the sorts of like things that have happened in your country with what you've done and what you've contributed to in terms of like the rhetoric that you've allowed to permeate your content just to appeal to like a certain demographic and come across as this sort of more I'm just the rational middle person kind of bullshit, when you know that's not what you are, and you know that's not where you're ever going to be. You're a fucking extremist by your nature, but you know you're going to become someone who's like going to try to, you know, ride the line, not out of any sense of like this is rational, because it's not. It doesn't make sense for there to be a compromise between what's right and what's wrong. It's just going to be, it's going to be wrong by default. You can't halfway do the right thing. So that'd be my advice to myself. Hopefully I'd listen. Thanks for answering my question. By the way, I would watch your videos back when I was 17-year-old atheist, and the only atheist I knew, and I am now 30. Wow. I'm raising up a generation of fucking weirdos. That's pretty cool. You wouldn't tell yourself not to give that girl the banana tape? Why? I'm super famous for that. That's one of the fucking most famous things I've done. Maybe the most famous. You know? Take away my fucking biggest claim to fame. Are you fucking stupid? TJ, why are grifters always grifting to the right and not the left? The right is easier to grift, I think. I just feel like it's way easier because there's not much of a standard, and it's way easier to just know exactly the things you need to say to please those people. You know, on the left, you have a lot more people who are able to think somewhat independently. That's why there's so much conflict on the left. Whereas right-wingers, the only fucking conflicts on the right are just about how far you go. Whereas on the left, there's actually like minutia to be kind of settled between people. And in fact, like two people can both identify as leftists and have radically different worldviews from each other. Whereas, you know, a conservative is pretty much a conservative. Why is it that people with kids care less about the future than people without kids? Well, because people who care about the future are people who look to the future and say like, "Oh my God, that's going to be a nightmare," and then they like do the ethical thing and don't reproduce. But people who have kids tend to just be like, "Ooh, I want to create a little clone of me so that I have a sense of eternal continuity." So it's really just an ego trip. It's not like they're actually trying to bring someone into the world that they are then going to, do what's best for that person. It's usually the case that they just want to bring someone into the world because they want this continuance of who they are. They believe that their child is going to be their clone. And I'm sure many of you were raised by these people and know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Would you join a socialist party? I'm not really much of a party joiner, but I guess that if there was a party that was just like, perfect fit like the OJ glove didn't, I would I'd maybe join it. I don't know. They say American left isn't really left. They're centrist at best. I don't really care about this argument. Like, it doesn't, like, these labels don't really matter to me as much as the substance of my beliefs. If I'll just let my beliefs speak for themselves. You want to categorize me as left, fine. You want to categorize me as centrist, fine. You want to say that I'm something else entirely, go right ahead. I don't really give a shit. As long as you accurately, reflect my views, as long as you can call them whatever fucking terminology you want, because I'm not interested in these long, boring semantics arguments where we quibble over definitions from now until the end of time. People say suicide is selfish, but reproduction is selfish. I mean, they can both be selfish. They're not like mutually exclusive. What do you think of the newer skeptic channels like Cosmic or GM? I love their rigorous but gentle dialogical approach. I think it's cool that there is a new generation of skeptical YouTube channels that seem to have no real tangible genealogical link to the channels that came before. So they're kind of doing their own thing. And I think it's pretty cool that they're not just like rehashing the stuff that was done by me and some others back in the day. I think it's cool that they have their own kind of approach to things and their own, sense of, sensibilities about it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like a huge watcher of their content, but I've seen enough to be like, oh yeah. I get what's going on here. It's a more polite approach, but I've always liked the people who are a little bit more barn burny. I like the people who are a little bit more fiery and passionate and disgruntled, angry, storm the Capitol. Well, maybe that's a bad example after January 6th, but you know what I mean. Like people who are willing to to grab the battering ram and smash the wall of the keep, right? What do you think of the UFO congressional hearings? I don't know. I don't know much about it, honestly. Don't they call them UAPs now? Honestly, nihilism isn't that bad. I think nihilism gets a very bad rap for not a very good reason. TJ, in your opinion, who is the better candidate between Trump and DeSantis? In my opinion, so it depends on whether you mean from an ideological standpoint or a pragmatic standpoint or a political standpoint based on my own politics, or based on if I was a right-winger, who would I want to see carry the banner of the party? Well, what I would say is this. I think that from my perspective, DeSantis seems like the far more dangerous person. Because Trump, I think he made a splash in the party. He did some things that I think were transformative. I honestly think that in retrospect, he kind of got lucky in that he only served one term, because he kind of got to avoid a lot of problems. But I think that also it kind of, because America only got one scoop of Trump, it made him not seem as bad as he probably is. But I also think that he's kind of got like a toxic air around him, because there's people who love him, and then there's people who hate him, and then there's a lot of people who are just sick of like the radicalization that he creates within like our political discourse. because there's a lot of people in this country who just don't like extremism, right? There's a lot of people who are just very like centristy people who kind of just want to be like, let's all get along, you know. All right, we have our disagreements, but like we gotta fucking chill out, guys. Like that still represents a pretty huge chunk of the American public, and we kind of forget it when we get too entrenched in this internet discourse. But like if you look at like what most people think, most people are kind of just like, I don't really give a fuck. Like most people, I mean, I went to Disney World. I didn't go to Disney World, but I went to Disney Springs not too long ago because my mom is like one of these Disney adults, and you know she loves Disney stuff. But she had some tickets to Universal, so we went with her to Universal Studios. But we went to Disney Springs for a minute, and it was during Pride Month, and so there was all this rainbow shit everywhere. And there was all these people around there that, you know, this is in DeSantis' state. This is the height of the DeSantis being like, oh, you gays are groomers and all this stuff. And there's like a bazillion people here at Disney Springs, and there's these pride flags everywhere, and it's like none of them care. All these people, they're there with their families, they're there with their kids. A bunch, like, there's people who are gay there. There's people who are obviously rednecks there. There's people from all different walks of life walking around Disney Springs. It's freaking packed to the gills, right? And none of them seem to realize, like, if anyone, no one's like give us a shit about the rainbow Mickeys or any of this gay shit going on. They're just like, whatever, it's gay, whatever, pro-gay, cool, yeah, rock on. But, you know, most of those same people, I would assume, like, if there was a bunch of anti-gay shit around, probably would feel about the same. Like, oh, yeah, they hate gays here, whatever. I'm not gay, so I don't give a shit. So it's like, kind of like, I feel like that's most Americans. They don't really give a fuck one way or the other. They're just kind of like, eh. And it kind of goes back to what I talked about earlier about like this kind of like aloofness that we have, this aloofness that we cultivate, this sort of snarky way that people who actually care are like looked down upon in some way. So, you know, that's kind of like the majority of Americans in my mind, is like these people who don't give a shit. And because of that, I think that, you know, a lot of people are turned off by someone like Donald Trump, who is like very inflames a lot of passions, right? I think that's the whole reason Joe Biden got elected, but I think people are now like, ugh, Joe Biden sucks. So I think that you know, DeSantis is probably a safer bet for the Republican Party. I think that if they run DeSantis, they stand a much better chance of winning than they do with Donald Trump. Now, that's not to say that Donald Trump could not win re-election, or he could not win like a non-consecutive term. He definitely could. But I think that you'd have a way, you know, you'd have a better chance with DeSantis. That being said, I think DeSantis is actually worse than Trump, but because he's a more competent politician. I think he would be far more effective. I think that he, you know, is far more skilled at making, you know, extremist sort of alt-righty talking points seem, you know, centrist and sane and sensible and middle ground. He's way better at like couching things in this like, oh, I'm actually the reasonable centrist, while he's very far right. Whereas Trump, you know, pretty much he wears his, you know, extremism on his sleeve, and you know he's tipped every hand that he's got, right? So yeah, I think that, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, DeSantis to me is the bigger concern as someone who does not want the right to win in this country. I hate being poor. I hate having to choose between having HRT or being kicked out of my house. I don't have enough to pay rent. FML. Well, you're in a position that a lot of people can probably relate to. Politics suck. That is true. I think we're too lazy and comfortable as a country to engage in civil war. I mean, well, the comfort seems like it's slowly being ripped away. So, you know, who knows? The next one is always worse. Well, when it comes to Republicans, the next one pretty consistently has been worse. You know, Nixon was bad, but Reagan was worse. Reagan fucking opened the doors for theocracy in this country. And Reagan was bad, but, well, I guess George, the first Bush Sr. really wasn't worse, but he kind of coasted in on Reagan popularity. But then George W. Bush was a fucking, like, a nightmare, who fucking brought us into a war on false pretenses and said God told him to do it. Pretty much dismantled civil liberties everywhere he could. And then we have Trump, who, you know, was like pretty much an outright I mean, he never got to be the despot that he wanted to be, but it was pretty clear that he wanted to be a despot. And, you know, tried his damnedest to, you know, turn America into a dictatorship. Didn't quite succeed. But now we are at the point where we have a theocratic Supreme Court that's, you know, threatening to overturn. I mean, already has overturned Roe v. Wade, threatening to overturn gay marriage, threatening to overturn key rulings on sodomy and key rulings on contraception. Which by the way, don't you guys think it's kind of weird that all of these things center around breeding? Like, the Republican Party is desperate for you to breed. They are desperate for you to create more mouths to feed, for you to create more consumers, for you to create more factory drones for them to exploit. They're desperate, desperate, desperate for you to create more people. Roe v. Wade, no abortion. You got to have the baby. Breed. No sodomy. Oh, wrong hole. Put it in the breeding hole only. Only in the breeding hole. Thank you. No condoms. No contraception. Nope. We want you to breed. You can't just fuck. You have to breed, breed, breed. They're desperate for you to fucking have babies. They're desperate for you to create more little fucking human beings. It's like their number one priority, it seems, which is very odd, very strange in a country like this with all of the problems we have, where we're running out of water, where we're hitting record, heat levels, where the resources are growing scarcer and scarcer, that we just want, we want more breeding. And especially when like a fourth of Americans think we're hurtling towards civil war, and we're just like, breed, 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 or at least the Republicans are. Do you think a future Republican president will crack down on weed? No, I think that's pretty much, I think the weed crackdowns are pretty much done with. I think that Republicans have realized that weed is no threat to them. It seems like even some of the most conservative states in the union are now okay with weed. A lot of conservative states, they're making money off it at this point. Like Louisiana, my home state. This used to be a super strong anti-weed stronghold. Now it's a state where, you can go get a legal weed card. It's a medical card, but pretty much anyone can fucking get the thing. You just got to pay the state money. So the state has realized we can make money on these pot smokers, and they're fine with us now. They're like, oh yeah, we're making money. Who gives a shit? There's still a few holdouts who are like, no, but like I think most of them are just like, smoke weed. We don't care. Smoke it, smoke it, smoke it. Depopulation is a ridiculous term. It's simply not replacing prior births with new births. I don't know. China has raised like 600 million people out of poverty, almost double the U.S. population. That doesn't surprise me. It irks me when people speak positively about those who have more than 3 kids. Even 3 is a stretch. I mean, I don't really care. So when I talk shit about breeders, I want to make it clear. What I'm really talking shit about there is people who just treat the decision to have kids as a casual decision and don't really like give much of a fuck beyond that. Whatever. I'll have some kids. Like, if you're a person if you're going to have kids, you better be goddamn serious about it. You better be like ready to fucking sacrifice your life to be a fucking parent. You better want that more than anything else in the world, because if you don't, you shouldn't fucking do it. That's where I stand on it. Texas will ban meat before they'll legalize weed. I don't think that's true, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, everywhere around them is legalizing it. It's going to be kind of hard for them to enforce when every state around them is legal or medical. Trump praised quick trials and the execution of drug dealers in his speech today. Yeah, but they're not talking about weed though. They're not talking like when they talk about drug dealers at this point, they're talking about opiates and shit like that. It's basically like just to rile people up. Like this shit happened in the 80s. Back in the Just Say No Ronald Reagan days, I think something like 70% of people supported the death penalty for drug dealers. I did an episode on this of Deep Fat Fried called, I think it's called From Taco Bell to the Drug War or something like that. And I pulled some stats from like 1982 where a gigantic, or maybe it was 1989. I can't remember exactly what year of the 80s it was, but it was in the 80s when a gigantic majority of people wanted the death penalty for drug dealers. And it was because there had been this massive push in the media to, condemn drug dealers, and to blame all of the problems of society, lay them at the feet of, the druggies. You know, as if the drugs created the problems. People take drugs to get away from the problems of society. The drugs are not creating the problems of society, you know? The relationship between that is you have a shitty society full of poverty, people do drugs to escape from it. It's not they do drugs and then the society goes to shit. That's not how it works. You got the relationship inverted there. Your setup reminds me of my grandfather's aesthetic. Cool. So many conservatives in Texas smoke weed. I know, like so many conservatives in Louisiana smoke weeds. Conservatives everywhere. I know. Conservative. Like the idea that weed is like this like thing that liberals do is not fucking accurate. Okay, there's tons and tons and tons of conservatives who are fucking huge potheads. So I mean, like it's not a fucking liberal or lefty activity. There's plenty of conservatives who are just as into it. It doesn't make you less conservative. Smoking it doesn't like open your mind, man. You know, you could smoke it and still be a hate-filled little dumbass. So yeah, it's no threat to them. And once they realized that, I think that's when they started being like, let's just make money off it. Many of my affluent friends that have had easy lives also enjoy taking drugs. It's not simply from societal decay. Well, there's like a point. See, the thing is that people take drugs because they're fun, for one thing. But when people take drugs as an escape, it's not just one thing they're trying to escape. There is a certain like ennui about being like sort of like a spoiled, privileged piece of shit. Because you still don't really feel like you have much purpose in this world, right? Like, ideally, you would live in a society where you would feel like what you did and said mattered and was of value. And the thing is, a lot of people actually are of value. A lot of people actually do perform very valid social functions, but no one has ever met, but we're not thankful for it. You know, there's so many people out there who are doing things that are very useful to the rest of us, but we're kind of trained not to be grateful to them. We're kind of trained to treat them like pieces of shit. You know, like waiters in restaurants or, you know, baristas or farmers or anybody. Like anybody who is at any point of a supply chain between something being created or grown or whatever and it getting to you, every single person in that entire chain of like the great material continuum, every single one of those people is providing you with value. And yet, you know, there's kind of like this contempt for them, especially in the service industry. Like there's oh, fucking barista, fucking nothing. Fast food worker who fucking fed me today. Gross. What a loser. We even tell people like, you don't want to end up like them working at McDonald's. It's like, as your ass is sitting there eating the burger, they made that burger for you, you fucking ingrate prick. Like, why are we such pieces of shit? Like, let's fix that. I don't know. That would be something I would say we could do some, we could stand to improve on a little bit. Natives use drugs to reach higher spiritual plane. Modern day people use drugs to escape our unspiritual world. Well, I think that there's like still people still use drugs to get to a higher plane. It's just like a matter of the drug. Like not all drugs get the same effect. Someone who's doing mushrooms or LSD or like ayahuasca or DMT or something is probably still looking for something like beyond this world or whatever the fuck. Or at least to like gain some personal insight at the very least. Doesn't make the job any better. What the fuck? I mean, it would, I think. No, I mean, I think it seriously would. Like, it would make the job better. I mean, like, gratitude does make all the fucking difference. If you slave away at a fucking miserable, fucking grindy ass fucking task, but then people are like, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Here is an amount of compensation that reflects that appreciation. Here is, like, us treating you with dignity and respect and reverence for providing us with this service. Yeah, I think that makes the job way better. You know, like I don't know, like I enjoy praise. I enjoy being appreciated. I think most people do. I think it's something that human beings naturally sort of crave. Duck Dynasty looking ass TJ. I don't really, okay, sure. Why not? Yep. TJ, if you could make a movie about your life and Scotty, who would you want to cast in the role of the amazing atheist? If I could make a movie about my life, I don't know. I mean, I'd want to make it really woke. I want to make a really woke movie, so I'd cast like a transgender black midget as me, you know, to be like, yeah, I'm checking all the boxes. Not midget, little person. Sorry. Don't want to be offensive. With disabilities, in a wheelchair, yes. Wheelchair-bound, black and Asian and Hispanic and Native American, disabled, trans, little person who is pansexual, playing me. What do you think about a possible Gavin Newsom versus Ron DeSantis in 2024? I think Newsom could beat DeSantis. I don't know. I don't know much about Gavin Newsom. I'm not going to pretend I do. My 4-year-old daughter kicked me in the jewels. Pain. All right. You know? Well, when she grows up, maybe she'll have a lucrative career with that, because you know, I've seen some stuff online. It makes me think that skill might actually suit her well in her adult life. You ever talk to Cody? He was really good at filming. Yeah, Cody was a very talented videographer. I mean, I'm assuming he still is a very talented videographer. We went our separate ways. I don't have any ill will towards him at this point. I just, you know, I've moved on. White people are a dying breed. Not really true. I noticed you have the Norse, what is that called? The Helm of Awe, the Helm of All, Helm of Awe, something like that. Which tends to be something that like a lot of like these like white extinction people go. You probably masturbate to like BNWO porn, right? You probably masturbate to that as well. Like, oh yeah, we're going extinct. Ah! You know, you go on YouTube and you're like, guys, we're going extinct. And then you know, you log on to your like weird black supremacy porn server later and you're like, oh, we're going extinct. Yeah, destroy us. You know? It's a compass actually. Okay, fine. I mean, it looks like the Helm of Awe from here. Or if that's what that's called. I don't remember what the fuck I can't remember the exact terminology for it. Sucks because, you know, the Norse people were not like super white centric, I don't think. I mean, they were white, but I don't think they were like, we are proudly white. I don't think they had much of a concern about that. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't really think white people are going extinct. I've enjoyed your content since 2009. What's the meaning of life? Spaghetti. Eating as much spaghetti as possible. That's the meaning of life. I know that's kind of disappointing, but it is the truth. It's the unvarnished, unblemished, beautiful truth. You sound very familiar with the thing, TJ. You've also done your homework. Yeah, I know. I know it's amazing my grasp of what that symbol is. I think it is called the Helm of Awe, dude. I'm pretty sure that's the Helm of Awe. I don't think that's a fucking compass. It looks like the Helm of Awe. Maybe it is a compass. I don't know. They're very similar looking. I can't see it. It's very, very tiny from my perspective. That stuff is a psyop being pushed by 4chan glowies to make far-right people go atomic. Okay. Would you ever stream yourself on Twitch? I think you could pull an audience there reacting to news and conservative content similar to Hassan. Yeah, I don't really know much about Twitch. I feel like people have told me that if I tried to do Twitch, I would probably get banned. So I don't know. I guess I could try it. TJ, I love your spirit. You are so sweet. You have a very wrong impression of me. I am not fucking... I don't tend to be very sweet. Did we fake the moon landing? Not to my knowledge. No, I don't think we faked the moon landing, actually. Also, a big problem contributing to overpopulation is elderly people are living a lot longer and not giving a way for new generations to grow. Well, maybe it's time we institute a policy where, you know, at a certain age, we send them off onto the ice drift. Well, there's not going to be any ice in the future, so never mind. $1.99. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you. Did you start an OnlyFans? Yeah, of course. Makes very sense. Very many senses happens there. TJ, Twitch is very sensitive. They ban man nips and saying cracker. Yeah, I got banned from Twitter for saying cracker, so you know, I need to clean up my act. Can you say retard and faggot on Twitch? I don't think you can. I'm pretty sure they're not okay with that. Lol, TJ is a cat's personality personified. That's true. I am, you know, I used to think I was not a cat person. I used to think I was a dog person until I actually got some cats in my adult life. Then I was like, oh, I am a cat person. Although both of my cats I have wanted to kill before. Like, I don't know how acceptable is it to like legitimately have a moment where you think you're going to kill your cat? Is that fucking okay? Or am I a psychopath? But if I am a psychopath, that just makes me all the more cat-like, right? You can't even help it. You are so nice. God damn it. No, I am not. I'm going to come beat you up. Okay, all right, I sound like a pussy. You're right. I'm too nice. I need to fucking toughen up. Did you think you would make it this far in your online career? Do you ever think? I don't really think about that kind of shit. It's not something that concerns me. I find that people around me are more concerned about it than I am. Yo, TJ, greetings from the Netherlands. Thanks, bro. Or cis, or gender non-conforming person. TJ, it seems that you think farmers are only affected by climate change opposed to largely contributing to it. We need to make our farming and agricultural practices more sustainable, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, well, this goes both ways. I mean, like, a lot of the farmers contribute to climate change, just like a lot of corporations do, just like a lot of individuals do. But yeah, they're also affected by it as well. I mean, you know, I don't think you throw a stone and you're going to hit someone who's guilty of contributing to climate change. I've never wanted to kill I've never felt that way about any dog I've ever owned. I've never fucking felt that way about any dog where I was like, I just want to fucking kill you right now. You are such a piece of shit. But my cats, I felt that way literally multiple times. So yeah, I've definitely felt that way about cats. I've never felt that way about any of my dogs, even when they've been shitty. Because like a dog being shitty still has like a certain naivete and innocence, whereas a cat being shitty seems like it knows exactly what the fuck it's doing. You know what I mean? I have not seen his water usage episode, but I am very concerned about water. I think that a lot of people are right now. Is property theft? I've never really understood the argument that it is, but I've also never really investigated the argument that it is, so I guess I'd have to look into that. My initial reaction is no, but I don't know. I'd have to like really be subjected to what people mean when they say that, and I just haven't been yet. Bees Ease gave $4.99. Thank you. So kind. TJB, looking good. Keep it up, dog. I get so many disparate comments on my appearance. I have like this aesthetic that I have chosen to embrace seems to be my most divisive appearance ever. Because when I've looked like a dork, pretty much everyone has agreed I look like a dork. And you know, when I've looked kind of cool, people agreed that I looked kind of cool. Never really cool, but kind of cool. But this aesthetic really seems to divide people. A lot of people are like, you look great. And a lot of people are like, you look like fucking shit. And there seems to be no consensus anymore. But that's kind of cool. I like being divisive. TJ, you suck. JK, but for real though, can I get Tree Fitty? Sure, you can have Tree Fitty. TJ, how did you acquire your expansive vocabulary? I don't know. I just I don't really consider my vocabulary expansive. A lot of times when I'm sitting down writing my novel, Sexbot Uprising, I find that I feel my vocabulary is far too limited sometimes. There's times when I will sit there staring at the same sentence for, 10, 20, 30 minutes, trying to figure out what word I want to use. And I feel like in those moments, my vocabulary feels very stunted. But if I do have any sort of vocabulary worth talking about, then it's probably because I, read avidly in my teenage years. I kind of fell off reading for a while. I've kind of gotten back into it in the last few months as I've made other sorts of improvements to my life. I've cut down on, my time spent watching television and things of that nature. I also do a lot of writing. A lot of my videos are at least partially scripted. I write novel. I mean, I'm trying to make it as a writer of fiction. You know, I've been working on a novel for far too long. But hey, you know, it's slow going. It's a brutal process. You know, so I don't know. I am concerned with language. I do pay attention to it. I do care about it. When I hear a word that I don't know the definition of, I will like look it up and try to, you know, assess it. Try to memorize it. Try to internalize it. Try to use it in a sentence and understand its meaning. So that's probably why. If I do have any sort of impressive vocabulary, which I don't really agree that I do, I feel like I could be better on that front. Do more cooking with TJ vids. Yeah, I do want to do that. I have not been doing as much cooking lately, and the cooking I have been doing has been a little bit more rote and generic because I've been, you know, trying to reduce, fat and carbohydrates in my diet. So I've been cooking a little healthier. So I've been cooking a little bit less creatively, maybe, and just like a little bit more on basically. But you know, I've been experimenting. I've started to branch out into recipes that, you know, try to balance health with flavorfulness. But for me, as a person who really, what I desire in a meal, it tends to be a lot of fat and a lot of carbs and starches, and you know, just like a very, you know, dense, calorie-packed, buttery, salty mess. You know, that tends to be the kind of food that I'm really in love with on a spiritual level. But that's not, you know, that's not very healthy, at least not as a regular, you know, cornerstone of a diet. So, you know, I am not diabetic, no. I miss the Banana Gate days. Well, it never ended, you know. It's there's a banana in my ass right now. Take solace in that, you know. TJ, your live audience seems to be growing. Nice, thank you. I don't really notice that. I guess there's you mean like just within the stream? Yeah, that's pretty normal, I feel like. So you like good food? Yeah, I tend to like food that's good, but you know, a lot of times good food and healthy food not the same. But hey, you know, I mean, whatever. There's stuff that's healthy that still tastes good. It's just a little bit more, I don't know, like the goodness, like healthy food can be good. But it's not like sexy good, you know. It's like, oh, this is very nice, but it's not like that. Oh, hell yeah. Ooh, you talk dirty to me, fucking French fries. Yeah, I know. I'm high as hell. Do you think James Webb will find aliens? I don't really know who that is. Sorry. Banana ass is the original sin. Yeah, I mean, they say that it was Eve eating the apple, but it was really Adam sticking the banana up his ass. That was what really pissed God off. That was when he's like, get out of my fucking garden, you weird motherfucking degenerate. Is Arby's overrated or underrated? It's underrated. Arby's is not that bad. And a lot of people seem to talk about it like it's like this horrible place, but it's not. It's really pretty good. Have you played Elden Ring? There's no point in me playing a game like Elden Ring. James Webb is broken. It's the telescope dipshit. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really paying that much attention to space right now. James Webb Space Telescope. See, I don't even know what that is. I never even heard of it. Sorry. Jesus, calm down. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. I'm assuming that it's named after a person, right? Like, it is a person as well as the fucking, as a telescope, I'm sure. They didn't just name the telescope James Webb after nothing. I'm pretty sure there was a person named that first. Arby's is greasy as fuck, but they got good Wagyu beef burger. That's pretty good. I mean, I never tried their burger, but I like their roast beef sandwiches. How often do you shit? Usually once a day. Duh, James Webb. Duh. I don't have to take this from you, okay? Just because I'm not up to date on the latest fucking telescope. All right, I'm sorry I'm not a fucking nerd, all right? I'm sorry I'm a fucking alpha male with big muscles and rippling fucking bulging biceps and all that. Instead of a fucking geek obsessed with a fucking telescope, okay? I'm sorry. Hi, TJ, proud patron here. I have a request. Please, DFF Edgar Casey. Pretty please. That's actually not a bad idea. Edgar Casey is interesting. But that takes us to the 1 hour mark, and I'm pissed at you guys for making fun of me for not knowing about this goddamn telescope. So, you know what? I'm out. Peace. See you tomorrow.